Right. Okay, guys, welcome to my channel. Once again, like my channel, subscribe, and you can share it to somebody who is already in the fold to learn more. All right, let me open my topology. All right. Some of you who have been following me for some time now, if you realize I've used this topology before, I have created VLAN 10 and VLAN 20, and then I have their network respectively at their places. So we'll be looking at the configurations I've done on the switches. So let's get going. All right. So enable show run. Show run shows you every configuration done on your system. So if you see, I've excluded my IPs according to what my network. So I have VLAN 10 created as a DHCP pool. Then I've excluded the IP according to what the network, and then I have assigned the default router IP. In the previous video, we saw how to configure that, but this time around, I'm adding the record because I'll be using a router. So I've already provided the IP in the DHCP database. Then likewise for VLAN 20, I've provided the default router IP. That's the default gateway for the client to be able to move out of their network. So as you can see, this is the DHCP configuration I did. If you don't know how to do this, you can check out on my previous video and it will bless you a lot. All right, so you can see from my interface, I have interface gigabit 1/0/1. You can see it's on VLAN 10, and then the 2 is on VLAN 10 as well. So the 3 and 4 are on VLAN 20, as you can see. Okay, so let's get down. On my port 24, that's interface gigabit 1/0/24, I've made it a trunk. Okay, for VLANs to communicate, you need a trunk port between what switches, right? So from there, you can see I have my VLAN 10 interface, and I have assigned IP address to the interface because this is my DHCP server, and a DHCP server need an IP so that it can be able to distribute what the IPs to the client. Likewise, my VLAN 20, I have assigned IP address to the interface. So I think that's it for now. Okay, one more thing. Show VTP. Good. All right, I created VTP as well. So let's check out the status. Good. So you can see I created VTP. This is the server, and I have created one as well. So let's check on the switch 2. Good. So enable show run. So you can see here there's no DHCP record because the DHCP is on switch 1. Okay, but if you see the interface, I've actually assigned the interfaces to the respective VLAN 10 and then VLAN 20, as you can see. And then on the port connected to the switch 1, That's the port. That's the interface gigabit 1/0/24 is also what? A trunk port. So that you have to configure that before all this will happen. Sorry, and then show VTP status. So yes, you can see VTP is enabled here. So you can see I have my client here. That is why we are able to have the information. So you can see I have what? The domain, and then the version running is version 2. Okay, so you can see I have my VTP running. Likewise, if I should click back this, yes, so you can see it's the same domain, version the same, and this is the server. So without wasting time, let's get on. Now today is about router on the stick. Okay, all right. Okay, let's check connectivity between the end devices. Okay, so let me ping 192.168.1.1. Okay, so obviously PC7 is on this very network, so I can ping .2. So I'm able to ping. Okay, let me switch to another network, which is 0.1. Okay, so as you can see, I can ping to the other network. Okay, now just like in my previous video, I said if you want two different networks to communicate, you need routing. Now, okay, today we are going to look at how to configure router on a stick. We are just going to use one interface of the router to configure that. All right, so let me bring my router, right? Let me rename this to LT1. Nice. All right, now what you have to do here is you have to connect the router to any of the switch. Okay, any of the switch, which will still work for you, right? So since we've done much here, so I can just connect it here. Probably some of you will be thinking, oh, because I've done everything on the switch 1, so when I connect it here, it's possible. So let me just connect it on switch 2, so that we'll do the configuration and then you see the effect. Okay, you can connect it to any of the switch, it's going to work for you. So let me connect my cable. Good, and then there. All right, now by default for router interfaces, they are administratively down, so you have to turn it up. That is why we are seeing this red line, but it's connected, right? So let me go on to my router's interface. Okay, so this you go for no, because okay, if you don't know how to configure the initial configurations, okay, you can go back to my previous video. I have done videos on initial configurations. You can follow up and then you get a lot of information. Okay, so this I'll just go for enable conf t, and then let me change my host name. I like doing that because I want to identify my host, right? So here do show IP interface brief. Good. So you can see I have my first gigabit port is on gigabit 0/0/0. So that interface is administratively down. Okay, so I have to turn it up. As you can see, it's here, right? So I have to turn it up. So interface G/0/0. No shut. Okay, so since it's up, I don't have to assign IP. What I have to do is exit, because I'll be using this interface to create sub interface for my VLANs. That is how you configure. You start by configuring what? Router on the stick. So this is how you configure interface. You can type it in full or use int. So I have G/0/0/. At this point, if I enter, I'm going to the interface. But you can see when I bring the question mark on the interface, I have a number to select from 1 towards 24. You can see dot here, right? So what I have to bring is dot 10. I like to name it after what? My VLAN, so that I can identify the interface. So you can see my sub interface is created and it's up. So you can see the sub interface. So here I can assign IP. Okay, so let's try that. IP address. Now the IP address is going to base on the configuration in my DHCP database. This is the IP I'm going to give to my interface. Gigabit 0/0/0.10. This is the IP I'm going to give. So my interface gigabit 0/0/0.20, I'll be giving this IP so that the client can be able to communicate. So if you watch my client, that's the IP I'm going to give to the interface, the sub interfaces of, you can see they are all there in the DHCP database. So here, okay, so before we can assign IP, we need to enable either this protocol, which is 802.1q, or using ISL, okay, on VLAN. So depending on which of the protocol, you have to enable that before you can what? Assign the IP. So in this case, what we have to do is, let me bring the question mark, okay, then you have to bring your encapsulation, okay, to set for the interface, right? So encapsulation, oh, sorry, right? So question mark. So here 1q, okay, question mark. So here you have to give it a number, okay, but me the number should be based on what? The VLAN's ID. So I'll go for 10, and then I'm done, because this interface belongs to VLAN 10. So now I can try and then assign my IP address now. 192.168.0.255.255.255.255.0. Good. So you can see now my IP is able to assign. So the next thing is to exit and then create the other interface. So to create that is also interface gigabit /0/0.20. As I said, is based on what? My VLANs. Good. So as we did for the previous interface, this one to encapsulation dot 1q. So I have to bring what 20 is based on what my VLAN. Then IP address 192.168.1.254 sorry 255.255.255.0. Good. So as you can see, this one too I have assigned IP. So let me edit. Okay, now we are not done, because since let's check from our client. You can see it's having the IP address of our server interface for the router. So let's try and ping if we can receive a reply. Ping 192.168, sorry, 192.168.0.254. Good. So you can see we are not able to ping the sub interface. So this is what you have to do. You have to make this port, the gigabit 1/0/23 port, as a trunk port before communication can happen. So conf t, so interface g slash, sorry, is g1/0/23 switch mode access, switch port mode access, and then switch access. Oh, sorry, it's rather switch mode trunk. Yeah, switch mode trunk. That's the command. That's the right command. All right. So the interface will go down and up again. So let's check. If you can't wait for this amber to finish, you can click on the forward time for it to move faster. Good. So now let's try and then ping again from any of the clients. Okay, 192.168.0.254. Let's try and ping again. Good. So this is the end device we use. Let's ping again. You see, this time around we are able to get to our router. So let's try and ping the other sub interface on the router. You can see we are able to ping that one as well. So now let's try and ping our end devices. Let's see. Okay, good. We are good to go. Let's ping another network too. As you can see, we are able to ping. So we can ping from PC1 192.168.0.254. PC1 2 is able to ping. Let's ping. Yes, it's true. So 1.1. So PC1 is able to ping. So this is how you configure what router on a stick. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching my video. Like it, subscribe it, share it for those who are already in the field, who need more knowledge on CCNA. They can tap this knowledge and then use it on the field. See you guys on my next video.